Hi, here we are. Black Rest Thought Pathways, number 5.
I think it's four, yeah.
4. Yep. We were just talking about um, extending Black Rest Thought Pathways maybe into July so we can develop more of our set. So we're excited about that. If you're joining us, thank you for watching these. If you have been, if this is your first time, hello. We're Black Dream Escape. I'm Onika.
And I'm Windafire.
Mm-hmm. And this is a part of a series called Black Rest Thought Pathways. And we are at art therapeutic practice. So we do therapy, and our art is music. We sing lullaby sessions, and this is a lullaby session. And today we are talking about how to rest without the internet while being on the internet. I mean, we're talking, but we are going to encourage you to be off the internet. Anyway, stay tuned. It's about 30 minutes. We encourage you to rest by drinking some water, putting on some lotion, laying down, listen to our voices, the backdrop, or however you want to do it. But this is your time to chill. Anything you want to say, Windafire?
Yeah, just like make yourself comfortable in however that is to you.
Yeah, please. That's what the intention is for this. So not really to be attentive and listen, but just let us guide you through whatever. And if you fall asleep, it's cool because sometimes when you put on information in the background, you sleep, you wake up, you know all of it. I think it's like magic or something like that. I'll start with our first lullaby. All this beauty, all this sound, nowhere to go but down. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that intro lullaby. Again, thank you for joining us. Our topic for today is resting without the internet. Um, what is that? What do we do? How do you do it? We're not going to tell you exactly how, but our thoughts about exactly what that means. Windafire, do you have anything that comes to mind at first?
Yes. So resting without the internet is very important to us at Black Dream Escape because you know, it's good to find a way to rest that you can do by yourself. By yourself with nobody to guide you or nobody to guide you. Not even Onika and I. Um, it's very important, I feel, because a lot of screens in your phone, on your TV, on your computer actually have the light that comes from them actually keeps you up. It actually keeps you up at night. So I feel like it's good when going to sleep to, if you're wanting some bit of a story, I feel like it's good to wind down with like a book or something, like a paper book, a tangible book, instead of one that you would find on the internet. Resting without the internet is, I don't know, it's very important to me because there's a lot that can happen on the internet. The internet can stress us out a whole bunch. And, you know, the internet is kind of a stressful place. What do you feel, Annika? How do you feel that it's important to rest without it?
Oh, yeah. I agree with all the pieces that you put on the table. And also, I think about how we at Black Dreamscape, we always talk about going, like, we're remembering how to rest. We're not teaching, we're not like learning because our ancestors rested. That's how we got to this point. In other ways, of course, that's how we got to this point. And I think it's safe to say that a lot of our ancestors did not have the internet, no access to the internet. So how did they do it? And when I think about resting without the internet, probably in the way that they did it was very much internal work, natural work, um, just being able to self reflect. And there's a few ways to do that, but I especially believe that it all starts like within the heart, within the gut, within the brain, all those places where we find our thoughts and our emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's good to look inside of yourself and to look at what your ancestors did when trying to rest. As we always say, rest can be it can be a very healing thing throughout all the different generations. It can heal some of the rest that you might have inherited from your ancestors, because your unrest, your ancestors' unrest, your unrest can be transferred onto future generations, and so all of the trauma that has happened, all some of the unrest that might have happened, that your ancestors had, can be transferred onto you. It's hard being Black and Indigenous in America, and I mean, Black people are Indigenous, but yeah, it's very hard being Black and Indigenous, which are not mutually exclusive, is what I meant to say with
That's you. Yeah.
um, it can be hard sometimes to take in the knowledge from your ancestors. Sometimes you don't have the knowledge on hand from past down generations to have. It's good to keep in touch with your ancestors, I feel, but sometimes it can be hard to understand what they're saying. A lot of people wonder how you set up, how you talk to your ancestors, how you do that. The simplest thing that you can do is you can set up a picture of the recently deceased, a candle, some water, and that's it. You could give them cigars or whatnot. It's good to give them little offerings, maybe some alcohol, maybe something, and you can just ask them to communicate with you. And communicating with you isn't always just like hearing. Sometimes they do straight on tell you, and it's kind of freaky at first. Well, I mean, I've always heard spirits, but it can be freaky sometimes because sometimes you forget, is it just in my head? And then you're like, oh my God, I'm hearing someone talk to me just from right here. But sometimes they talk to you in different ways. Sometimes they'll come to you in a dream. Sometimes they'll show you in the environment. So it's good to ask them. And in work with rest, sleeping is one form of rest. So you can always ask your ancestors, say, hey, I'm struggling finding ways to rest. Could you please tell me within my dreams? Could you please show me? Um, yeah. Um, with resting resting without the internet, there's so many different possibilities of what you can do. Um, I just said a very spiritual way. If you're a spiritual person, then spirituality can be a very restful thing to do. It can be very restful to talk to your ancestors, to tend to their shrine, to tend to any shrine around your house, to pray to God if you're a Christian, to I'm not too educated on on non-African diaspora or African traditional religions, so I can't really speak on those too much. Um, uh, but if, spirituality can be it can be a very restful thing, I find, and it can be a very comforting thing to some people. What do you feel about that, Onika?
I agree. Yeah, especially the part about asking your ancestors for assistance, because they know you, like the audience, your ancestors know you, like better than we would. And that's why, again, we do these thought pathways and not telling you exactly how to do them, but suggestions to lay that template. I think emotionally, when you're resting without the internet, was I'm thinking about ways people use the internet to rest, and it's for, seems like, for reminders, for instruction, for guidance, whether it be like a meditation app or a meme or something like that. And coming from like a therapist perspective, I think that that's beautiful for people to look outside themselves for inspiration. And also what I try to do with like my clients, or especially with the young people that I connect with, is that we have to remember that the answers that we're looking for are often inside of ourselves. Our emotions tell us a lot. Even if they're false, they still tell us what's going on. They tell us when we need to rest. Um, and we've talked about rest cues on this platform before. And if you want, there is a video on our channel about that. But yeah, our emotions, our physical pain, our joy tells us a lot about how we want to rest. So, for example, a pain in your back might just literally tell you that you want to rest with some back support. Do you need the internet for that to tell you? Maybe if your mind is cluttered and you can't make that connection, but in the way that we are talking, it's that you have a pain in your back, so listen to it. What is the pain telling you? And you might sit and try to resolve that within yourself, rather than like Googling how to sleep with back pain. Figure it out for yourself, because you're an individual and not every solution too will work for you. Yeah, I think that's the thing, is the general theme is like, what are you trying to tell you when it comes to resting? What do you like? What is restful to you? Because we're not none of us are like exactly the same. We all have our preferences. And I think when it comes to Black and Indigenous rest specifically, that is also something to remember, is that we have the beauty of forming as a collective and forming as a family, even if we're not blood, but also we are each individual people. So, what is restful to my sister won't be restful to me. And we have the ability to be individual people with individual needs, personalities, all that. And that still comes into play when we're talking about resting without like digital instruction.
I feel like not feel. That was a great point. That was really well said. Um, yeah, it's really important to listen to yourself, listen to your emotions, listen to your body, and form your own form of rest like that. I feel like nowadays the internet has made us a little lazy in our thinking, in that you can think of something yourself, or you can just take 5 seconds to look it up on the internet. I feel like a good practice for everybody every once in a while is when you have a question that is possible to answer by yourself, not necessarily like a big scientific question like, oh, what is the chemical composition of, I don't know, Gatorade. Um, I feel like some questions that you might have, such as, how can I do this hairstyle? How can I rest in a different way? How can I relax? I feel like a good practice for people to do is, for some questions, is to use your mind. Challenge yourself to not look it up on the internet. Challenge yourself to be ingenuitive. I think that's the word. I don't know. Maybe that's a made up word. I'm pretty sure that's a word. But
It's a word if you say it's a word.
um, but yeah. Um, I feel it's good to challenge yourself and to use your mind. You know, our Thought Pathways series is to show you pathways in which our thoughts go, and some guests are in and thought pathways in which some thoughts of guests that we have on the show go. It's good to follow the pathways of your mind as long as those pathways don't harm you and are not negative to you. Um, you know, your rest should be what's best for you. If you're at one of our events, if you're just at home watching this, it's good to do what's best for you. You know, if laying down at that moment isn't the best thing for you, if sitting down on a chair is the best thing for you, best thing for your body, best thing for your emotions, best thing for your rest, then you should do that. Because rest should be it should be a very personal thing. And, you know, people like Onika, and, you know, all the other wonderful people who are doing these rest works, we can guide you, we can give you ideas, but it's really up to you to go and try different ideas and think of ideas of your own. Um, it's great to do that. And, you know, I, as much as I'm a very spiritual person, I also love science. I love modern science. And I feel like in just like it's important to keep a dream journal, I feel like it's important to keep a rest lab journal. You know, do not necessarily a lab report, because like, you know, you don't have to put all that much labor, but like, you know, report on different things that you have done. You know, write things down on or yeah, write down different things that you've tried, how that's made you feel, how rested you feel after doing those things. You know, tweak, use your mind, and just do that. Yeah.
Hmm. Definitely, I love that idea of a rest lab record, especially because rest is never ending, and so it's like a continual experiment. You know, what will make you feel that deep, like, what will help with feeling rested? What is that feeling? Do you know it? Do you know it well? And so figuring out exactly like what gives you that sense of calm is important and will take time, maybe a whole lifetime actually. And that is the beauty of, well, a part of the beauty of living, especially when you're Black and Indigenous, because you're giving yourself that time. Your life isn't, sorry, I put it on mute. Your life isn't just about struggle. It's not about teaching people about your struggle. Of course, it never is just that. But in a way to live that is to live in a way that you prioritize things like your rest and your joy, which we've seen a lot of people talk about extensively. But it's true, you know, and we can't say it enough because the world wants us to forget that, I think. Yeah, definitely. And I think the other part of what Winston, what you were saying too, is that when we go to the internet, we are looking for that like immediate instruction, and also that says to me sometimes that we're looking to not make a mistake the first go around. And so I think sometimes when people come to building a rest practice or trying something out, they want to do it right the first time, perfectly even. Got to look a certain way. It's got to be a certain way. I'm going to rest for 20 minutes, and my nap is going to be clear of any negative thoughts and do it right first time. Resting without the internet might not look like that, because you might not know exactly what to do or how to do it. But that is, again, the joy of figuring out resting for yourself without the internet. It's that you might cry the whole time. That was rest. You can count that as rest. Nobody's saying that, that isn't allowed. Um, you might think about cheese the whole time. You're allowed. No one is saying that you can't think about cheese. But sometimes if you go to the internet and you're like, what is rest? How do I rest? Then you have this list. And so it kind of like narrows things for you. But, you know, the beauty of resting is that you can take that, go off the internet, take what you've learned for yourself, mix it all together, and it's just like this joyous learning endeavor. Like Windafire was saying, it's an experiment in health. It can be fun, not something you dread. Yeah, it can be fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Um. So it's so funny that when I do these videos, no matter how I try to get the sound okay, like I put my dogs in a certain situation. So this time there's a train. The train came. It's feel like every time I try to do something, I try to do like something silent. The background noise is like, no, it's chaos. We're gonna do it. So again, like we always say, if you hear background noise and you're trying to rest at this time, please allow yourself to go with it because rest is always possible, especially in the midst of chaos. So if you hear my background noise, I apologize, but also remember that you're still capable of resting because chaos will happen in your daily life. Um, Anything that we left out, Windafire, you think?
um, no, I don't think we left out anything. What about you?
No, I think we covered it. And our general theme is just that there are these ways to rest without the internet that you very much have to figure out on your own. And we suggested, a rest lab book that which I love. I love the idea from Windafire. Looking
Yeah.
internally and asking your ancestors for those answers for yourself. How do you answer that question? How do I rest without the internet, without external instruction? Pretty much look inside yourself. Trust yourself. You know things. I'm sure. I'm sure you know things. So yeah, go with that. I'm excited anybody listening to this, if they do that practice and would like to share with us, I'd be so curious to hear what people say is like their personal rest practice or like their personal rest skill that they figured out themselves. That would be a joy to hear. So before we do the outro lullaby that Windafire is going to lead, I just want to say again, if you do come up with something and you would like to share it with us, you can find us on Instagram, Black Dream Escape, and send us a message. That would be cool. We're also on Facebook, or I think you can comment on this video. That would be nice. Liking this video and subscribing really helps us out in the long run. Then we can start, generating more of an audience, and this is a message that we would really like other people to hear. And also it helps pay us at some point, and we both need lives in some way. So cool. Thank you for viewing. Windafire, would you go with the outro lullaby?
Yes. will come. Rest 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 will come. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to us today. We really appreciate you joining us. We hope that you have a restful day or night, depending on when you're watching this. Yeah. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Windafire. Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams. Bye.